Hey everyone. So in my last video, I discussed the idea of practicing combat encounters or other encounters that you find tricky when you're trying to learn to DM, particularly when to do with the Lost Mines of Phandelver. That first initial combat encounter kind of puzzled me for a little while. I wasn't really sure how to run it. So what I thought I'd do is do a quick practice combat session. First of all, we need our dice. All right. Okay, so I've got a few things in front of me, and I'm going to run just a quick practice combat encounter. I have 2 player characters, and they are going to be facing 2 goblins. I'm going to run this as I would as if it were a real combat encounter. So let's see how things go. First and foremost, we set the scene. Fighter and the wizard are walking through the woods. They've been traveling for a few hours. They're a little weary. They're considering maybe setting up camp. Now I know as the DM that there are 2 goblins hidden in a bush, just about 30 feet in front of them. They don't know that yet. And what I'm going to do first of all is roll a stealth check for those goblins to see if the players notice them. Okay, now I rolled an 8, plus 2 dexterity for the goblins. Sorry, they get plus 6 for stealth in their stats. So 8 plus 6 is 14. That is 1 more than the highest passive perception, which is 13. The goblins go unnoticed. That means they get a surprise round. So they get 1 round of attacks before any other player characters get to act. Okay. But suddenly, 2 goblins burst out of the bush. They've surprised you, so they get a surprise round. One is wielding a scimitar, the other wielding a bow. The one with the scimitar charges towards the fighter, rolls a 3, so that's a miss. The second one pulls a short bow, fires towards the wizard, rolls a 4. So even with a plus 4, that's also a miss against the wizard's armor class of 12. That all went very quickly. Goblins get a plus 4 to their scimitar and to their short bow attack. It's quite easy to remember. Both of them rolled low enough that even with a plus 4, they would not hit the hero's armor class, which is a 17 for the fighter and a 12 for the wizard. No hits. Now we roll initiative, and this is where I'm going to start making notes. So, first of all, this is for the fighter. He rolls a 15. The wizard rolls a 1, so he's definitely going to be right down there. And the goblins will probably be somewhere in the middle, but let's check. Yeah, that's a 9. Okay. For groups of enemies that are all the same type, we generally roll initiative once for the whole group. If you think that's a little unfair, or you want to try it a different way, you can roll initiative for every single member of the fight. But if you're fighting 2 or 3 enemies, that's okay. If you suddenly get into a fight with 10, that's going to be really annoying for you to keep track of as a DM. Okay. So I'm actually going to put 2 goblins in there because there's 2 in the fight. The fighter gets the first move, so what's he going to do? Okay. So, he is carrying a great axe, he's carrying a javelin. There's a goblin right in front of him in melee range, so he's going to take a great axe swing towards that goblin. He's going to make an attack roll, which is, okay, fighter rolled a natural 20. Fantastic. So, for a natural 20, we double the dice of the attack. Now, the great axe does 1d12, so I'm going to need a d12. That's this lovely pentagonal dice here. And let's roll that. Okay, fighter rolled a 10. Now we're going to double that to 20. As we double the dice, and then he gets a plus 3 bonus slashing damage. This goblin has 7 hit points. So the fighter just whirls his great axe and cleaves the goblin in half. Now, with a natural 20 or a cool kill like that where you've done a serious amount of damage, what I might do is something similar to the famous Matt Mercer, how do you want to do this? Usually I ask you, how do you kill the goblin? How does it die? Something that allows the player to then describe how cool their character was in the moment of slashing that goblin in half. Nevertheless, that's 1 goblin dead straight out the gate, but that's the fighter's move done with. The second goblin is obviously a little panicked by this, but he's still going to take an attack. So, he was firing a bow at the wizard, he's going to keep doing that. He thinks maybe taking out this wizard might be the key to success. Rolls an 11, plus 4 is a hit, and the short bow does 1d6 plus 2 damage, okay? I know that's a hit because 11 plus 4 is 15, the wizard's armor class is 12. D6 for the attack roll. Let's see what we roll. Fluff that, we'll roll it again. D6, okay, that's a 6. 6 plus 2, if you can do maths, is 8. And this wizard, unfortunately, has 8 hit points. The wizard is now bleeding out. So the second goblin, enraged by the immediate death of his companion, fires, piercing the wizard straight through the heart, knocking him to the ground. The wizard is now bleeding out on the ground. Okay. The wizard is not dead. We don't tend to kill player characters as soon as they reach 0 hit points. Instead, he needs to make a death saving throw. So that's a d20. Basically, 10 or more is a success, anything less is a fail. He rolled an 18, so that's 1 success. So I'm not going to take it on the character sheet, but that's 1 success on his death saving throw. Okay, we're back to the top of the round, and the fighter. Now, the fighter's got a close distance with the goblin, but the encounter's happening within 30 feet, so we can move in and engage, and he's going to take another great axe swing towards that goblin. Okay, he rolls a 2. So this time, the goblin's arm class is 15, and the fighter gets a +5 attack bonus. That's not enough to hit the goblin. So this time the fighter, maybe a little overkeen, just swings and misses the axe. Okay. Goblin gets to move next. Now this time, there's a fighter in his face. The wizard is down. Goblin's going to drop his short bow, draw a scimitar, and he's going to roll an attack. That's a 12 plus 4. Oh, that's just a miss. The fighter's armor saved in there. So the goblin actually does hit, but it clangs off the fighter's armor, and is a complete miss. The wizard, meanwhile, makes a second death saving throw. Rolls another 18, so that's 2 successes. Okay, back to the top once more. The fighter takes another swing with his great axe towards the goblin, rolls a 19. Now I know that's going to be a hit without even applying bonuses, because the goblins only have 15 armor class. That's another d12 damage. Let's see if this is enough to take the goblin down. 7 plus 3. That'll do it. So the fighter this time takes the great axe and slams it down into the goblin's head, splitting it clean open. You can see guts, brains just flowing outwards as the goblin falls backwards, dead. 2 goblins down. So now with combat over, the fighter has a chance to try and rescue his wizard companion. He's going to roll a medicine check to see if he can stabilize. He rolls a 12. His medicine skill is +1. I, as the DM, need to decide, is that enough? Well, this wizard's already rolled 2 death saving throw successes. It's probably enough. So the wizard is stabilized. Not actually conscious, but stabilized. And that's the end of the fight. Now, that went quite quickly. A fight in D&D can take much longer than that. But that's generally how I would run a combat encounter, and I hope this has been useful, at least to those of you starting your journey in DMing. Any questions on this? If you'd like me to do something maybe a little more advanced, or something with another player, which could be a little more fun, let me know and I'll see what I can come up with. But until then, thanks for watching.